and welcome to Pillars of Progress. I'm Anne-Marie Ganes. Let's take a look at the headlines. Crown Point International is now the ANR Robinson Airport. The cabinet is in Tobago. They've promised land titles for the people of the Sister Isle and the end to water scheduling for some southern communities. But let's first journey to the Sister Isle, where there's been a big name change. As of today, the Crown Point International Airport will be called the ANR Robinson Airport. It's a change that honors a man who has served this country in several capacities. He's a former Prime Minister. He has had the distinction of serving as President, and he's credited with playing a pivotal role in the establishment of the International Criminal Court, the ICC. Our correspondent in Tobago, Natoya Johnson, was on hand for today's official ceremony. Let's join her for the details.
This place will now bear the name of a son of the soil. For Tobagonians, it was a proud moment, but the occasion transcends the Sister Isle. To quote the Prime Minister, the time had come to localize it.
The ceremony at this moment will always recreate over and over again a time of very vital significance, especially for children of Trinidad and Tobago, generally for national community, but of greater importance would be the very meaningful legacy this would have successfully etched into the annals of our national history and regional history.
Today's renaming of the airport was a collaborative effort between the government and the Tobago House of Assembly.
The renaming of this airport from Crown Point to the ANR Robinson International Airport seems to be consistent with both a regional and international tradition of naming places of excellence after great ones who have walked and sat amongst us. You know, Jamaica boasts of the Norman Manley International Airport. Barbados swells with pride over their Grantley Adams Airport. The Chedijagan International Airport gives to Guyana a memory of their own identity. Today we are in a celebrant mood because the name of our ANR Robinson will now be heralded across the global landscape in even a richer vein than some of his, not most of his, illustrious Caribbean colleagues.
And with this, what was formerly known as the Crown Point International Airport was renamed. The man in whose honor it was done says he is humbled by the gesture.
It is particularly important to the people of Tobago, especially at this stage of their development. And I would like to say thanks, express my gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bitesa, for the expression of the aspiration of the people of Tobago that she has demonstrated in this forceful manner on this occasion.
Natoya Johnson for Pillars of Progress.
But we want to dig a little deeper to give you an understanding of the role Mr. Robinson has played in both Trinidad and Tobago. We know in the Sister Isle he's held in great esteem. He's one of their own, and he represents the hopes and aspirations of many Tobagonians. But it's not the sum total of who he is. Let's take a look back at the life and times of the man whose name will now be written on many arrival and departure forms starting today.
That's quite brilliant. Or you look at some children and you say, looks like a statesman, eh? You know, the way you carry yourself, you have a look about you that sometimes the old people say, you see, that boy is going to make something. I suppose everybody around here, they had that same feeling, a feeling of pride. Because you know, sometimes when you talk, you say, our boy. What's our boy? He has worked hard. And whatever happens, he deserves it.
His father used to be the principal of Castara Methodist School. and it's under him he won his exhibition to come to Bishops. So coming in those days from the home where his father was a headmaster, it meant that he had all the discipline necessary to be a straightforward young man. And I don't remember A&R getting a flogging from the principal, Mr. Jordan, in those days, because many of us would make a little mistake here and there and so on. But A&R Robinson was always straightforward and stuck to his books. He was really a bright fellow. One that we endeavored to emulate and copied him, because he's really was an example to many of us.
He was hardworking, but he participated in everything. The principal at that time was fond of quoting a certain remark. He would say, "Seest thou a man diligent about his business, he will stand before kings." And whenever he quoted that, I would say to myself, there goes Ray Robinson.
He brought a high degree of dignity to his office and encouraged all those in the assembly to operate at this high level. He looked at things in a way that we don't tend to understand and fathom broad. And he saw that Tobago, like every other body of people, needed some autonomy in order for Tobago to play its part in the development of Trinidad and Tobago.
And staying with news out of the Sister Isle, the Minister of Legal Affairs, Prakash Ramadas, says, as promised, he's looking into the issue of land titles for the people of Tobago. In many instances, residents there live on land they have inherited, but they have no way of proving it's theirs. These lands have been handed down but weren't legally transferred, so there's no legal title. The minister says the matter remains a priority.
Well, that committee has been meeting. They have not finalized their work. In fact, I've called for a report from them just last month. So that is a matter that is a top priority. And as you know, it's chaired by the Minister of Tobago Development, Ms. Toppin. That is the level of respect that we've given to that business of the land titles issue. And very, very shortly, as that report comes in, we will bring the legislation and put the mechanisms in place to ensure that titles are finally lawfully recognized.
It's now time to take a break, but do stay with us. Coming up, over 200,000 customers to have a regular supply of potable water.
Jenny?
Girl, how you going?
I am fine. Just here anymore doing some shopping with my guilt-free money.
Guilt-free money?
Yes, Jenny, you know Board of Inland Revenue have a tax amnesty on now? Yes.
Tell me how that works.
It's easy. All you have to do is just pay all your outstanding taxes leading up to the year 2009, and all interest and penalties will be waived.
But wait, there must be a catch.
No, girl, it didn't have no catch. All you have to do is pay all your outstanding balances by May 31st of this year, and you're good to go.
That's sounding good. But wait, if I can't remember what years may be outstanding, how I will deal with it?
You just go down to Board of Inland Revenue and they'll assist you with everything.
Well, girl, thanks for the info. Now I too can shop with some guilt-free money.
The Board of Inland Revenue advises that an amnesty is in effect from September 8th, 2010 to May 31st, 2011. Be wise. Take advantage of this opportunity. Inland Revenue Division, changing the way we interact with you.
Abuse is when the big people that I love
tell me things that hurt my feelings.
Abuse is when my mommy and daddy hit me for no reason. Abuse is when I feel neglected.
Abuse is when my rights are ignored.
There is no reason why our children should be abused. They are our future. The Ministry of the People and Social Development is committed to the protection of children's rights. We must safeguard their future. Together and together alone, we can do it.
Children have rights too. There is no excuse for child abuse.
You're viewing Pillars of Progress, and thanks for staying with us. Now, few of us have been spared the experience of dry taps, no water to do our daily chores, and in extreme circumstances, none to drink. For the people in some southern communities, this was the story of their lives if for some reason they missed their water schedule. But this will be no more. John Victor tells us what has changed.
An all too familiar sight for thousands of residents in communities in South Trinidad. It meant water shortages. That is set to change.
This new trunk main, which is designed to transmit approximately 20 million gallons of water, will benefit approximately 295,000 customers in the southern area. These areas are Rio Claro, Tabaquite, Piparo, Princestown, Tableland, Sisters Road, St. Julian, New Grant, St. Madeleine, Bonitento, Margaretute, St. Clements, Golconda, San Fernando, Gasparilla, and Pinal Barco.
This large catchment area represents 25% of WASA's customer base that will now no longer depend on a scheduling program to receive a potable water supply.
It is a story about management, about making a rigid organization flexible to achieve its goals. It is a story about the human spirit, where the sons and daughters of slaves and indentures can rise to the occasion and successfully complete a project done previously by the colonial administration. It is an intriguing story, and for those who participated in it, the experience has been priceless.
Public Utilities Minister Emmanuel George says the NAFET project is just one in a series of initiatives being undertaken by WASA to improve the reliability of supply throughout the country.
I want to assure all of the persons gathered here today and the wider community of Trinidad and Tobago that the Ministry of Public Utilities through WASA will continue to work tirelessly to improve the water supply to all of the communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago until people are provided with a standard of service which they deserve.
The improvement works, in keeping with government's one-year agenda plans, are expected to cost some $1.3 billion. John Victor for Pillars of Progress.
And there are changes also for the residents of Hindustan in New Grant. They have been given a new community centre. It's hoped this facility will act as a place of learning. The centre was formally opened by the Minister of Community Development, Nizam Bashk. Sherilyn Lewis reports.
Testament to the fact rural areas are high on the government's agenda, they now have more community-based facilities.
This centre was built by H&T Maintenance Company Limited. One of our directors there, Mr. Hackett, who we recognized early on in attendance, at a cost of $6,094,286.77.
Minister Bash believes community centres like this one create strong and healthy families and contribute to a sense of belonging and empowerment. He says, utilized well, it can foster closer relationships.
Skills, talent, and energy define the residents of Hindustan. People from this area have made their mark in the fields of medicine, sports, and cultural activism. Exceptional performance in stick fighting and in the Prime Minister's Best Village Trophy competition also attests to the abundance of talent in Hindustan.
Having invested this much, the ministry has only one wish, that the residents take care of the centre.
And these include skills courses including computer literacy, improved sporting facilities, a homework center, and networking opportunities. I am pleased to inform you that this new community center will be a catalyst in meeting these needs.
This center is also expected to be the go-to place where communities can learn new skills.
Consider how their knowledge and competencies can help to continually improve the Hindustan community, your community. Through the community development officers for your area, who are all present here today, I urge you to make full use of the programs that will be deployed at this community center. For instance, the district staff manages the community education program, which trains hundreds of persons each year to become skilled workers in over 60 disciplines, including small-scale agriculture, tiling, aerobics, and computer literacy.
The minister says the center residents will be contributing to people-centered development. He also sees it as playing a part in poverty eradication. Sherilyn Lewis for Pillars of Progress.
Still with community projects, a non-profit organization, the Social Establishment for the Welfare of All, SEWA, has been given a $1 million grant to assist with the rebuilding of one of its facilities located in Todd's Road. SEWA is run by the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, and its mandate is to provide care to the less fortunate. The Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. Glenn Ramadasing, says this grant represents 60% of the total cost needed to repair the building.
The organization has been able to procure financing from the corporate sector, Republic Bank, $200,000, and the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha itself has given $100,000. Today, Cabinet has agreed to the provision of a one-off grant to this organization in the sum of $1.371565 million to the Social Establishment for the Welfare of All, SEWA, to assist with the cost of renovations and refurbishment of its building located at Todd's Road, Chaguanas.
Let's face it, public transportation can be nothing short of a hassle. But for the people of Tobago, they've been given more options. As of today, they now have 40 buses, an increased fleet that should ease their transportation woes. Sherilyn Lewis has the details.
The Sister Isle hasn't been so fortunate. Until today, the public transportation system was nothing short of inadequate.
When I became Minister of Works and Transport, Tobago had 7 buses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And today, we are bringing 12 more buses into the system.
This increase will allow citizens the opportunity to take the bus to and from their homes in nearly every district, especially those living in rural areas.
Total of 40 buses. For the first time in Tobago's history, there are 40 working buses on the streets of Tobago. And that, for me, if that is a credit for the People's Partnership government, I don't know what is.
It's the end of 8 years of neglect and hopefully the easing of transportation woes for many in the Sister Isle. Sherilyn Lewis for Pillars of Progress.
There are policies and plans in place for the diversification of the economy, but none perhaps has as much widespread appeal as the role of the fashion industry. Fashion is very much a part of our culture, and Lindy and Mars found it. There's now a book that we can refer to that speaks specifically to the history of this industry.
Fashion has given many countries international recognition, driving some of their economies and feeding into other sectors. It's this kind of success Trinidad and Tobago wants to duplicate.
Fashion, to me, should be one of the areas that we should be pursuing as a very important area for growth, employment, foreign exchange generation, and for developing the image of Trinidad and Tobago, which has so many different spin-offs in terms of investments, tourism, and so on. And of course, the carnival that we have here is a very important adjunct to the whole fashion and design industry.
The organizers say they planned this exhibition and book launch to coincide with Fashion Week 2011. Fashion Week had to be rescheduled because of a lack of funding, but Ambassador Assam says he'll do all he can to ensure the event comes off.
I decided to discuss some of these challenges with some of the ministries who are supposed to be helping to promote fashion in Trinidad and Tobago. Because I'm of the view that the fashion industry is one of those that can help in the diversification thrust.
This publication is really the first of its kind in this country, one that the museum is happy with. The organizers hope that some of the exhibits featured in the book will find a permanent home at a museum in Trinidad and Tobago.
When Rosemary came to me with the idea of the book, I said, this is a history that we can tell, because usually the museum does a lot of art exhibitions, and so we're trying to move away and tell more of the social history of Trinidad and Tobago, of which fashion is a part.
The author of A Spirited Butterfly, Rosemary Stone, also shares the view that there's a wealth of opportunities in the fashion industry, and the book will not only provide the origin and development of this craft in Trinidad and Tobago, but act as an empowerment tool for those already in the industry and those wanting to come in.
Because we have no research books in fashion in Trinidad and Tobago, because nobody remembers that we have a vibrant, exciting fashion industry, which we are going through some troublesome time now, but I'm totally convinced it can be revitalized, because everybody thinks that all the good fashion comes from China and India, which is not true. We have wonderful fashion here.
The exhibition runs from May 19 to June 5 at the National Museum and Art Gallery of Trinidad and Tobago. Lindy and Mars for Pillars of Progress.
Let's join Sherilyn Lewis again. This time she shares with us the meaning of the Sugar Heritage Village and Museum. As we told you, it's being set up as a place of historical reference, a place that citizens can find archival material that relates to the sugar industry in Trinidad and Tobago. But let's put a face to what this means.
These fields no longer hold a place of prominence in our economy. From the days of being king sugar, very little happens in the sugarcane industry today. It's now a defunct sector. But it still matters to those who feel connected in some way to this industry. Families, like that of the Minister in the Ministry of Labour, Small and Micro Enterprises, Rudy Indar Singh. As you might be aware, for many years, the Minister also represented sugarcane farmers. So the launch of the Sugar Heritage Village and Museum is a very personal experience for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is unfolding here today is important for me personally, with a strong sense of nostalgia and emotion for a number of reasons. Firstly, I am the son of a sugar worker who toiled for 47 years in Caroni 1975 Limited.
For him, this launch of this museum means more than the preservation of history. It's a way of improving the lives of citizens. It's also a promise kept.
If you could throw back your memories to some months ago when the first budget presentation was delivered by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Winston Ducaran, he announced in relation to the tourism sector the establishment of a Sugar Heritage Village and Museum at Civila House. And if we are to go deeper, this initiative is consistent with the broader objective for the tourism sector as was set out in the manifesto.
Many in the sugar industry will be happy with this. For years they've complained of being unsung heroes, but the establishment of this museum hopefully changes this.
The vision for the execution of this initiative on the part of yourself, the Cabinet and the government must be seen as a fitting tribute to all those whose blood, sweat and tears fell on the lands of the cane fields in relation to our historical evolution. The reality is that the diversity of Trinidad and Tobago and the coming together of so many cultures and peoples to form this great nation is a direct result of the sugar industry.
The sugar industry in Trinidad dates back to the 18th century with a plantation system of production. To date, there are only a few indentured laborers that are still alive. Sherilyn Lewis for Pillars of Progress.
And that's all we have time for. I'm Anne-Marie Ganes, inviting you to join me again as we continue to look at the government's work. Do remember, this is streamed on news.gov.tt, where there are also past episodes available for viewing. And you can see repeats of today's program every day on TV6 at 11:40 a.m., on CNC3 at 11:30 and 102 on CNMG. This has been Pillars of Progress, a look at the work our government is doing as it implements the development plans for the nation. On behalf of all of us at the Government Information Services Limited, goodbye.